Like, I love the fact, and it's not trying to sound arrogant or whatever to call it, but like, it's not. It's just, I love the fact that I am a fan of myself. Like, I
Yes.
like my music, and when I hear it, I'm just like, man, yes, like, and I think it's because I always see myself as the kid that was wanting to get into this, and whenever I listen to what I'm doing, or like my music gets an award or gets recognition, it's the kid in me that's just like, like, you did
I
it,
love
you
that.
did it, you did it, man.
Welcome to Trujectory, the podcast committed to helping you step into your true path, your purpose work. There is nothing better than being able to do what you love every single day and to get paid for it. I lived many years of my life working jobs that didn't align with me, and I know how rough that feels. I want to see as many people as possible stepping into the work that truly lights their soul on fire. This is your space to come and be reminded that you can create the life that you're dreaming of and to learn exactly how to do it. This is your space to be inspired by those who have been bold enough to follow their passions and have created their dream life because of it. If you're ready to stop playing small, stop holding yourself back, and start aligning with your trajectory, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to try not to scream into the mic because I'm way too excited right now. We have a freaking beautiful human in the studio today. His name is Voyce Stevens, and before we get into how he's doing, I want to tell you a little bit about the billions of amazing things that he is doing in his world. Let's start with his tagline, which I absolutely love, and I think it really, really sort of says who he is. Born on the moon, raised on Mars, stuck on Earth, reaching for the stars. Hell yes. So this man is a recording artist. He's a singer. He's a songwriter. He's a producer. He's an actor. He's a filmmaker. He's a self-proclaimed science geek. He's also an engineer. Like, holy shit, we'll get into that as well. But in 2023, he released his fifth commercial album, The Emancipation of Easy. In 2019, he landed a role in the series The Bold Type and has since then been cast in various series and films and written and produced some of them himself, which is incredible. In 2020, he took steps towards philanthropy, collaborating with UNICEF Canada. He released a single called What's Going On, and all the proceeds have gone towards their initiatives to help children around the world. Holy moly, he has learned to find meaning in not just his successes, but also his missteps, which I love, as they have led him to the person that he is today. Through his journey, he hopes to spread a message of self-empowerment, to remind the world that hope is always alive and that the fire never truly burns out. And that is why we had to get him here on the Trujectory podcast. Voyce, hello, my friend. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? How are you? I can't believe we're doing this right now. We have so much history, and I feel like the world is going to it's going to be uncovered as time goes on. But this for me is just like it feels like a homecoming.
It really does. And for anyone, I really wish that I had recorded when Voyce just jumped online, because we haven't actually spoken in probably 6-7 years or something like that. Maybe something
it's been
stupid.
a while.
And
I want to say since 2017.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I can't do maths, but that's a few years. And I just bawled my eyes out as soon as he got online. I was like, oh my God, that's my brother. Like, that's my homie. I miss you. And you don't realize how much you miss someone until you see him and you feel that energy and you're like, oh my gosh, how have we not been working together? Because we made some amazing songs together, and you just gave me a little snippet of one of them, and I'm so excited because it's really just inspired me again. So thank you so much for your time, bro. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. I'm just excited. Like, honestly, I'm just excited. It's just really wonderful to see you. And yeah, like I said, homecoming. This is honestly, this is surreal. So yeah, that's it. That's all I can say. It's just surreal.
It really is, honestly. And I mean, I stumbled across the thing was, I went off social media for a few years completely. And then when I came back, I decided to start a new page on Instagram and sort of ignored my old pages because I just wanted a bit of a fresh start. Did a lot of healing. And then I realized, I don't need to run away from this old profile. I can actually go back and utilize it. And when I reactivated that one, I was like, Voyce, oh my gosh, this human, oh my gosh. And just to see how much you're just still slaying it. And that's something that inspires me so much. One of the biggest quotes that helped me to start this podcast was, I always butcher it because I don't say it correctly, but it's along the lines of success and failure are the same road. The successful ones
Yeah.
just stay on that road a lot longer. And that is exactly what you have done and are doing and will continue to do. And that's what inspires me, because I've always been like a bit of a little bit here. Oh, I'm not getting the results I want. I'm going to jump over here and try over here. Oh, not getting the results. And that in itself is stopping me from finding any results because I'm not sticking with it long enough. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing with the podcast, and seeing you just still kicking ass in music and just going higher and higher and higher. Really, like, good on you. Is a very,
Thank
that
you.
was a very lame clap.
Oh.
I'll put an applause sound effect in there.
Yeah.
Good job.
Solid work, Stephen.
Yes.
Solid work.
Solid.
Solid.
So, I mean, there are so many different things I want to tap into today, but let's see how much time allows us. We can go on as many tangents as we wish, but I want
Oh
to
yeah.
so basically, I want to give the audience a bit of an idea of what your life looks like as an artist. So what does your week to week sort of look like? I know it's surely varied because you do so many different things, but what's
Yeah.
what's a week in the life of Voice?
Oh man, it is jam packed with just about everything. Like I wish I could say I'm one of those artists that only does creativity and that's about it. But like no, I like you mentioned before, I'm an engineer. I studied electrical engineering in university. I do software. I work in tech now. At the same time, so my day is split between that reality and also the creative aspect, and they kind of marry into one another. For me, it's really important to not see them as segmentations of my life. Like this is one thing, that's another thing. For me, they both feed into each other. Because as much as a musician as I am, I'm also such a nerd, and I love math and I love all these things. And both, but that the part of my brain that gets excited by all these things for me, I feel like is the same part of my brain. And so it's just like whatever I'm doing, I'm always feeling like I'm feeding the essence of who I am. So yeah, but yeah, my life is split between that and creating. So that's essentially it. And I'm just always trying to find new ways to evolve and grow and yeah, and my OCD brain forces me to just keep doing things. Like no matter
Yeah.
what it is, I'll just keep doing it. Yeah.
Just keep on going. I love that though, and I love that you mentioned like your engineering thing. It's similar to me. I've
Yeah.
got my, I'm editing videos and shooting videos and corporate stuff like that. And it is, I do feel like it's important for a while. Like you don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to just be doing that one thing you love. Some people might, but I
Yeah.
need a lot of variety. And I also
Yeah.
sometimes need structure. And as an artist, I'm all over the place. I'm like airy fairy and I need to do what I want when I feel like it and do all these things. But then there is a, like you said, like an OCD part of me as well, where I'm like, no, I want to be, at my desk at a certain time, getting a certain amount done and, feeling like I'm accomplished certain things. And I love that balance. So I love hearing that you've got the same, and the fact that you're, an engineer as well. Like that's no
Yeah.
small job. Like that's incredible. So you're getting fed in so many different ways.
I'm getting fed, and I feel like I take the it's called the analytical part of my brain, and I bring it to the creative part, because even when it comes to creativity, so I don't get myself overwhelmed, I will actually structure plans for like, okay, on this day at this time, I'm going to work on this thing, I'm going
Yeah.
to mix this song, I'm going to record this thing. I like to kind of structure things so that I can see the vision and I can see the progression. So I'm also very grateful for the fact that I do have these multi hats that I wear. But like I said, it's super important for me to marry them together and not let them be separate, because I feel like that's when you burn out. I feel like
Yeah.
as a person, you burn out when you wear different hats, but you see them as different hats. But if you see it as just like, no, this is just me existing, then I just feel like it's that much easier for your mind to go like, well, this makes sense.
I really like that. And it's actually, you've tapped into a question that I've got towards like the end of my list. So I want to tap into that now because you've just like
Okay.
touched on it. So what I want to know is like similar to what you're saying. So you do wear so many hats. Like how do you go from the artist to the business manager to the marketer to the music video director to the actor within the music video and all of those things? So like you're saying, is it just that, that flow? Like, because I know I struggle with this at times where I sort of go, oh, I've got to, I'm trying to be creative right now, but I've got to be really technical. And it's sort of, yeah. So what
Yeah.
what is your key to that? Like, that's incredible.
Um, I make sure that I enjoy all phases, and I like to see, like, for me, it's almost like a chain, right? Like of something moving from point A to point Z. and for me, it's like you're working on the song right now, and then you finish the song, you're mastering it, and the next phase is okay, branding and this and that and that. But there's creativity throughout the entire process, and because of that, at every single phase, even the tedious stuff, I'll be honest with you, like the video editing can get like, it can get very tedious, but at the same time, I'm injecting myself into that layer as well, so that by the time the project comes out, I can be like, this is me. And I think that's it. It's just you have to remember that you're creating something and it's going through its birthing to growth to final phases, and you're the one guiding it all the way through. So I think that really helps me just manage my brain. And this, like I said, I enjoy all those aspects. I love even the tedious, painful stuff, like the pre-production and all of that. And also, I think is very important is to I always tell the artists is at the beginning of your career, it's important to learn how to do everything so that when you are now confident to now move forward properly, you know what to delegate and you know what people are doing and what they're adding to it, so that you don't get screwed by them.
Yep.
But you also know how to speak to them, because there's nothing worse than trying to speak to a video director or a video director in general, like, hey, I want to accomplish this, but you don't know how to speak their language.
Yes.
It's important to be able to speak their language, so there's no disconnect between what's in here and what's coming out.
I think that's such a good point. And yeah, I feel comfort in hearing that, because I am getting back into music now, and I am reminding myself that I do want to learn how to produce all over again, and I want to have all of those skills, because I know at some point that if, not if, when I continue with this time round and I start having other people to work with, I'm going to want to not feel like a noob. Like, I'm going to want to feel like I can tell you what to do. And like you said, I'll be able to witness, are they doing it the way that I would do it? Are they doing it better than I am doing it? Was I already doing it better than they're doing it? Like, should I get someone else to do this? Like, having that awareness is paramount. I think that's so important. So can we go back to the beginning? What was it that made you... Let's go back to the start. What got you into music in the first place? Like, what was that spark? What happened?
Michael Jackson. Okay.
Amazing.
So my girlfriend got me this shirt. I have two major idols in the music industry, and one is Michael Jackson, and the second is Eminem. I know, very crazy differences, but for me, they're like, those are the two artists that I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
But no, so as a kid, my mom listened to Michael Jackson a whole lot, and so I grew up in a household that was listening to Bad and all these songs, and I remember just like loving the way she loved Michael, that it got me interested in seeing what he was doing. And by the time I started learning about Michael myself, I was just like blown away by the way he was able to portray emotion and just use that in his voice and then share that with the world. And then when you watch his shows, you would see people react viscerally to his presence, like people fainting, people crying, people happy, just like you see all these emotions, and he was bringing people on these journeys. And I just wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to make something that made people feel something. And I think because I know it's hard to believe, but I'm quite the introvert. And so when I'm not,
extrovert.
Introverted extrovert, exactly. So it's always, I always found it hard to communicate with the world, before. And music was the one time where like I could say anything and everything. It actually goes to a line that Eminem said in the song. He said, it's a double entendre, but he said, you don't have to be reserved in a booth. And it's just like, yeah, man, you don't have to like hold back. You can like really just share. But to be honest, what really, really pushed me to the point where I chose music as a path forward as a career was, again, sad story, but when my mom passed away, I was in such a dark place, and it was just hard for me to make sense of the world. And I was so angry and so bitter and so pissed off. And I just didn't understand. And I turned to music for the first time in my life as a way for me to release what was inside me. It wasn't just something that I could do. It was like, I need to do this, or like, I don't think I'm going to survive. And I penned all those frustrations, and when I released that to people, I just wanted to put it out there. People connected with it and would come to me saying like my music helped them get through their own darkness. And I realized at that point that music was more than something that I was talented at. It was something that connected me to the world. And that was the first time I felt like I was able to share something that really impacted and made a difference. And that's when me as an artist was truly born. Before that, I feel like I was just doing stuff because I could do it, but suddenly I was doing something because this was core to what it means to me to be.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And it really is like music is medicine, right? I mean,
It is.
creating in general, art, like we're creative beings. We need to be able to express ourselves. And so the fact that you sort of tapped onto the fact that it was medicinal for you, it was healing you so deeply. How, I always wonder with people, how do you sort of reconcile that with the fact that you want to make some money off it at some point? You know, is it something, what's your mentality around that? Do you sort of just have faith that it will do what it's meant to do? Or are you a little bit more strategic about it? Because I feel like in my experience, I have let, and I love Rick Rubin. I don't know if you've read The Creative Way, The Creative
No.
Act. Oh my gosh, I'm going to send you a link. You've got to, you will love it. But one thing that he said in that really like struck a chord with me, and he was saying, I don't consider, and I make sure my artists don't consider the audience in the entire process. We do what is the absolute best for us, and whatever is the absolute best for us, what feels the best for us, will resonate with whoever it's meant to resonate with. And I love that. And it sounds so obvious, but I realized when I heard that, that's what also made me fall out of love with music a bit, because I had started to go, oh, this sounds good. This is kind of hot right now. This is what the people are wanting right now. And I started to make things for people rather than for myself. So it stopped being medicine for me and it started being a job. So what's your experience with that?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So I will go back to there's, there's there's a point where I was working with a team, and I thought, okay, this was the next logical step in my career, and I was excited to work with them. And they really started pushing me in this direction where every song I needed to do needed to be like the pop song, the pop song, the pop song. And coming from an emotional artist place, I felt like, no, but this doesn't make any sense to me. But like, I thought, oh, well, they know better than I do. So I went along with it for a while. And then at some point, like you said, it started to feel like a job. It felt like I just felt like, am I just making things that they want me to make because they think this is going to sell? But like, where am I in this? And is this really that important to me? And I think when I realized that, like, no, that's not what I want. Like, I'm a multi-dimensional being. I don't want the songs people hear from me to be just like one side, especially as an artist that came into music from an emotional place. I don't want new people to discover me to be like, oh, he's the guy that makes like these kind of songs only. I was like, no, I want people to go through my catalog and be like, this guy's all over the place and I love it, and he, in 1 second he's happy, then he's not happy, then he's sad, then he's not sad, and then he's make me feel something, then I want to dance. Like when I make music, that's how I feel, like because when I create, it's an emotional response to the world. And going back to what I was saying about, Eminem, one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of his is every single album he's put out has been indicative or reflective of where he is in his life at the point in which he released them. And so, like, every album is like a snapshot of that moment. So, like, when I listen to the Marshall Mathers LP, for example, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember what he was going through when that happened. And when I listen to the Eminem show, I'm like, I remember when he did that. And then Recovery, I remember, and that's what I want from my music, is I want people to go through my music projects and go like, yeah, he released this in 2020. I remember this. He was going through this. And that's super important for me. So, yeah, my music is an emotional response. And so if one day it's a hot, popular song, then so be it. And if the next day it's a indie sounding, dark, emo song, so be it as well, because those are all the facets of who I am. And I refuse to be restricted by any of that, even if it means like losing out on money. Because like at the end of the day, that's not what's important to me.
That's so good to hear. It's so great, honestly. Yeah. And I love that, being able to look back as like photo albums in terms of music like on your life. But also I feel like more people are doing this now, but they're not necessarily boxing themselves into a genre, unless maybe they're attached to a label and they've got a certain contract and they have a certain audience that they're trying to feed or whatever. but I love indie artists are really just making a whole bunch of different songs because it's the same as me. And I had beaten myself up so many times about that, going, one day I'm making a freaking slow song, the next day I'm making hip hop, the next day I want to do indie rock. Like, what is going on? And again, that would, instead of go, yeah, okay, that's who I am, let's accept it and move forward, I would go, that's wrong because that's not what the industry wants. And that was the mentality. So I'm so grateful for people like you who are breaking that and just going, no, like, fuck that. I'm doing what I want to do. I'll do what I want.
Do what we want. Do what we want. And you know, it's funny because like you see like, and I'm not gonna. There's a lot of artists that I really, 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 really love, and I've been seeing them release recent projects. And it's like, for me, like these artists are the ones that paved the way in terms of certain styles. And then now, years later, you can almost see the label's influence behind them because like you feel them now starting to play catch up with what's popular right now. And I'm just like, but like, you're the one that sets the bar. You don't have to be chasing any bar. You're the one that sets it. But you see them trying to be like, oh, I need to jump to Afropop. I need to jump to this. And you're just like, just do you, you know, because like when you do you, that's like, yes, but like you can feel the panic almost behind a lot of the labels with the way they're trying to push their artists. And I just feel like it's unfortunate because that's one of the reasons why I don't want to get signed is like I don't want anyone ever trying to tell me what to do. Like I'm just like no. Like it's a visceral no. I cannot do something that like if I want to do it, I'll do it. But if you tell me I must, it won't happen.
And that's the beauty of technology now, right? You can do what you want and the people will speak the truth. They will follow what they like and they will ignore what they don't like. And it'll get to a point where if a label wants to jump on board, you can say, well, look, this is what I like to do. These are the results. You can see the numbers for yourself. So I don't have to sell anything, you know, and you can either continue to perpetuate me with my randomness, however I'm going. But if you're trying to box me in, then sorry, mate. Peace.
Bye. Anybody got time? Nobody got time.
Seriously. No, it's so good to hear. It's just crazy how like this feels like, I mean, music has just jumped, and artists like yourself, like myself, like we have jumped miles in terms of our different understanding. I mean, I don't know about you, but 10, 15 years ago, it was label or nothing. That's all it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So within such a short amount of time, for the power to be placed in our hands is incredible. It's so freeing. It's also like, wow, this is like, you get real-time feedback now, so that's scary, but it's fun.
People listen, at the end of the day, like it's like you said, like it's important to make the music for yourself. Like at the end of the day, like I don't want to ever make a song that I don't want to listen to. Like why would I make a song that I'm just like, oh, I'm sure everyone loves this song, but I don't want to listen to it. Like I don't want to. Like I blast my music, okay? Like, when I'm working on my projects, right now I'm listening to all the new songs I'm making for my next album, and I'm just enjoying it. I don't want to ever go through a song and be like, skip. Nah, it's not for me. Like, no, I want them all to be for me. If that makes me selfish, so be it.
I think that's another word that we need to have a second look at. Selfish is a positive thing, I think. Like the problems that we face are often because we're trying to do things for others, and we're trying to fit into others' molds, or, you know, trying to be martyrs and all these sorts of roles. And it's like, truly, the best thing you can do for anyone is doing the best for you, being an example, just shining your light as bright as you can. However cheesy that sounds, I love it. It's true.
100%. 100.
So what is your writing process like? Do you have a process, or are you just like on the fly all the time, like having your notes on your phone ready to go because you got these ideas streaming through, or do you have sessions, or what?
That's a good point. It's always different. Like, it's always different. Like, because I don't like to make music just because. And like, like I won't be like, I'm gonna wake up today and make 4 pop songs. That is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. I just kind of like, most of the time my music process is I'll be, you know, playing Final Fantasy and you know, and I'll just pause and I'll be like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh, I like that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna record that real quick on the piano. And then before you know it, a whole song is born, and it's just because the muse took over. And then once I get into that process of like creating something, it's like tunnel vision. It's just like I block out everything. I will block out food. I will block out water. Like if it wasn't for my girlfriend going like, hey, you should probably eat something, I'd be like, what's food? Like, and I would just kind of stay in here and just create. But that's it. It's just like because for me, every single phase of the creative process feeds the next phase. So if I play a key or a chord or a chord progression, instantly my brain will be like, start coming up with like a melody to sing to. And then by the time I'm done laying down the chord progression, I already have like the first verse written. And so I just go record that first verse. And by the time I'm finished recording that first verse, the pre-chorus is already in my head. And it's just like, and then I go like, oh, you'll be cool here, like a piano and then like a guitar riff. And like all of this just kind of plays. And it really just feels like I'm playing with all these tools that I've built over the years. And just my brain is just sparking different ideas and I'm just putting them together. And then I just enjoy it. And like, as I create, and I'm sure some people don't like this, but like as I'm recording, I'm mixing at the same time because I like to hear what it's going to kind of sound like, so I can keep feeding on it. So for me, it's an iterative process of just like creativity feeding creativity.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode and I hope you're getting a lot of value out of it. I would love to ask you to take just a couple of seconds out of your day to please rate and subscribe this channel. Whether you're on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, whatever streaming platform you're on, if you could take a couple of seconds to just rate and subscribe, I would be so grateful. That's going to really help us get our reach out a little bit further. It's going to help the amazing messages from my guests be heard by a larger audience, and we're going to be sharing a lot more perspective and advice and inspiration for those people who really need to remember that they can and will own and co-create the life that they want. You just need a little bit of motivation, a little bit of inspiration, and that's what I hope to provide here on Trajectory, the podcast. So please rate and subscribe. Thank you so much in advance. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have a beautiful day or night, depending on where you are. Mwah. That's brilliant. And I love that you are going straight after it when it hits you, because that's something that was spoken about in Rick Rubin's book, and I definitely resonated with this, is when that inspiration strikes, they say, I think it was Lennon who said, if you've got a song, you don't leave until you've written the whole thing. Like, just if it starts to come up, you sit there, because what happens is, and I know I've done this many times, I've sort of gotten the initial inspiration, gotten into a little bit, recorded a little bit, and then gone, okay, I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to, I've got this thing I've got to go to, so I'm going to go here. I'll get back to this tomorrow. You come back, you're in a totally different energy. You're not in that channel anymore. You're not getting that same divine inspiration. So you're making something completely different. So it's like 3 different portions in one song that have all come from different spaces and different energies, and it just doesn't necessarily vibe. So I love that you do that. You just go straight in, tunnel vision, straight in. And even if I'm saying like I'm out, like, and there's no way for me to rush back to the studio. If I have an idea, I'll voice memo it. And even if it's just like stupid sounds and melodies, I always go back to that, because sometimes I feel like those first ideas are the perfect ones. And I'll have it happen sometimes where like I'll have a small idea, I'll record like a small verse idea of just whatever sounds. I'll come and start creating the music piece, and I'll start writing something entirely new to it. And then I'll just go back and listen to what I had recorded before, and I'm like, this is infinitely better. Go back in that direction and scrap everything. I'm like, no, that was better. I just feel like that initial spark is always like, it's just like that, like it's like the adrenaline pushes you to like a different place, and you come up with things that you don't necessarily come up with when you're being too analytical about it. And I feel that's what happens, is that sometimes you get too much in your head. I'm just like, nah, just go with the initial response, the initial just like the feeling,
that pocket, you're like, oh, that mood, that's what I'm gonna do. So go do that. And even like when I have, if I'm recording a song and say I absolutely need to go to like an event or something, when I get there, the people that are with me know that like, you let Steven go back to what he was doing. They're just like, Steven, you're not here. I'm like, I'm not here. I am not here. Let me go.
Honestly, I always wonder if someone ever stole my phone, or if I lost it and someone found it. I just think instantly about the notes, the voice memos that they would find, and how weird they would be.
What the hell is this?
Tiny random little melody, little like catch a pa. That's my
and on the boom, and they'd be like, you got it, see? And I'll talk to myself. You got that, Steve? I'm like, cool.
Yeah, just, seriously. And I'll be like, and don't forget to put this part at the end of the second hook, not the first hook. It's like, oh my gosh.
Don't forget.
It's so true. So have you noticed, like, when your best ideas flow, have you sort of noticed any common themes? Like you're in a certain space, you're in a certain mood, certain time of day, or is it really just random and you never know when it's going to hit?
Well, I'm gonna start by saying, because you're also an artist, this is one of my favorite interviews ever.
Oh,
Yeah, I just want
yay!
to say that right off the bat before I answer the question. It's one of my favorite because only artists can ask artists really artistic questions.
Yay!
Okay, so yeah,
That's the hope.
so
Thank you.
that's the hope. That's it. So no, is it? Well, for I think at nighttime, because I mean diagnosed OCD. My brain tends to fixate on like things and like just go, and a lot of the times when there's too much stimulus, it's hard for me to like not think about too much. And so at nighttime when the world is quiet, that's when I tend to be the most open to the creative music because like it's just silent and I can actually hear my thoughts. Because when in the day I find I'm hearing everyone else's chaos,
Yep.
and it's hard to find myself in all of that. But at nighttime, I'm like, there you are, Steve. So it tends to be at nighttime. But I mean, sometimes, I mean, like when I get into if an idea sparks me in the middle of the afternoon and someone's talking to me, I block them out. They're no longer there. It's just the idea in my brain. So yeah, it's usually whenever, but it's a nighttime when it really just takes control.
I like that. And I'm finding the same for me, actually. Like lately, there's been a few times where I'm like, sort of brinking onto something, and then as the sun's going down, it's like, I don't know, there's something about the sun going down. And it's funny
Yeah,
because I am such an early, like I go to bed really early. So it's
yeah.
sort of working against what my body actually wants, but my spirit wants me to stay up and just start working on music. So I might have to readdress my current bed
Steven
times.
schedule.
Yeah. Figure that shit out. So I have known you for a long time and I know that you have been through a lot of shit as well.
Yeah.
So I would love, if you're willing, whatever you're comfortable talking about, to tap onto maybe one or two of the big challenges that you've been through, and really honing in on, after now being able to look back at it, what was that beautiful golden nugget lesson that you got? That, you know, an initiation in my mind is something that you go through that absolutely is horrible, that really sucks, but you come out the other
Yeah.
side completely different, and you couldn't have been that person without going through that thing, whatever that may have been.
Yeah.
Do you have any of
Yeah.
those you can tap into and tell us what you learned?
Multiple.
Yeah. Where do I start?
Where do I start? I think one that I think a lot of people will resonate with is what we all collectively went through recently is the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
During the pandemic, when the world stopped and like we're all just kind of locked away, it was the first time where like because I was so used to being out and about and doing things for like music or acting and this and that. I was just always working on the next thing, and everything got shut down, and I just was locked in with my own brain and the chaos of it. And it's the first time I realized that there was a lot of unresolved pain and trauma that I hadn't dealt with, and it was loud. It was so loud, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know who I was. I felt like I don't know who I am in a world where I can't truly be out there expressing my creativity. And I had to learn how to just sit with the discomfort, and discover what my mind was really trying to tell me. And it's around that time I started dating my current partner. We're now together, and when I say current, I mean at this point we're gonna get married. It's not a question.
Yay!
But yes, oh no, yeah.
You found her.
But
Yes.
I found her. Found her. But she really helped me because she gave me the space to just like discover myself, and I felt like I was discovering myself all over again. And I went into therapy, and I started, finding just learning different parts of myself, and realizing like, listen, I have OCD, and like, I'm a neurodivergent being. This is a word I never thought about, but I realized I really am different in these ways, and I need to learn how to navigate the world through my own lenses. And I think just leaning into that, all of that really allowed me to tap into a different version of my creativity and myself. So that was a really, really hard time, but one that really forced me to slow down and learn about myself and come out better for it. So yeah, as rough as the pandemic was, I don't think I'd be where I'm at creatively if it wasn't for it. And going back to what I was saying before about, having met a team that kind of steered me in the wrong direction. If it wasn't for the pandemic, that really just kind of forced me to be like, okay, well, I need to find a way to do things differently. I don't think I would have come to the conclusion as quickly as I did that like this really wasn't the path for me, and I just decided to lean into what I knew. It's like I rediscovered my own like confidence, like because I felt like they had kind of stripped that away, and it's like, and then I got back to a point where I was just like, nah, man, you know what you're doing, like you know who you are, so I let all that go, and all those ideas of what I thought I needed to do to get to the next level, I just scrapped them and just said like, listen, I'm on the right path already, so just keep trusting yourself. And yeah, so those are two moments in my life where I had to really just kind of self learn and accept external help, which is also something else I struggled with before. I always said like I could do it all on my own. Like my first album was called Alone in the Crowd. It's just me against the world, and I realized like no, I'm better when I accept that I don't have all the answers, and it's okay to ask other people for help.
Wow, yeah, those are a couple of really big ones, hey. And I feel like you touched on something so like prevalent there. Just the only time we really start to suffer is when we think that what we're doing is wrong, or we should be doing it some other way, and like you're saying, you went and found out more about your makeup, how you're designed, and the way that your brain works, and then you started to have that allowance and self-acceptance and go, whatever it looks like, that's okay. And that's definitely, okay. When I look back at my life, I'm like, the only times I've really struggled is when I've believed other ways are better than whatever my way is, or I've thought that I have to, fit myself inside a certain mold, or listen to people's advice that they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know what they want for their life. And I would put their opinions so much further above my own. And it took so long to really go inwards and go, no, you got this, chick. Like, calm down.
Yeah,
it's
you
all
got
right.
this.
Stop seeking mentors and, all of these other people and assuming. Confidence can be very convincing, right? When people are confident, and it could be arrogance, but it could come across as confidence. And I would just sort of go, well, they're so confident. Of course they've got the answers. They say I should do this. They know exactly what they're talking about. Well, of course I should do this then. It feels shit. Oh, well, that's okay. I'll just keep doing it. And, oh, shit. Okay, something's not right here.
No. And I feel like during okay, so there's a point where my music, I would always pass it on to someone else to mix and master. And I love him. His name is Martin D, and he's mixed and mastered a lot of my big songs. And I still work with him, for certain projects. But like I got to the point because I was so convinced by these people that like I needed to pass it to someone else because I couldn't take it any further. And in 2022, I released a song called The Motion. And I just decided, I was just like, you know what, I want to fully mix this one. I want to fully master this one. And I did. And I put it out. And it won an award, and it was like really well received. And I was just
amazing.
I knew that I knew. Yeah. Like, I knew that I knew. Like, why did I freaking doubt myself? And so that's why when I released the 2023 album, The Emancipation of Eze, I decided to like mix and master like 99% of it, because I was just like, I want this to be me.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like just like you said, like the wrong people put thoughts into your brain that block you. But like you said, it comes across as confidence, but it's arrogance, and it's also a way to manipulate you. And I'm learning more and more to identify the people that are really trying to manipulate you.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a skill in itself. That's a superpower to be able to identify that. Douchebag identifier switched on. Yes.
I see you with that stupid smirk on your face.
So what would be your advice really around artists in particular, but this really applies to anyone, around them, what they might have termed as missteps, like thinking that they've done something wrong, like there's always something great that comes out of it. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think sometimes we think our missteps are like they lead you to the end of the road and you're done. It's like, no, your missteps lead you to where you're actually supposed to go. It's like sometimes you trip a few times to realize how much you don't like that thing and how much this is just not for you. Or sometimes you need to go back to what you were saying about failure and success. Sometimes you need to fail a few times to like really understand something and just because for me, there's always a lesson in failure. Every time I do something and it doesn't quite work out the way I wanted it to work out, I go into self-analysis mode and I go like, well, what why didn't it work out? Like, oh, that's it. And I learn from that, and I always get more knowledgeable from that. So your missteps, your failures, the things that didn't work out the way they were supposed to, all of those things, don't look at them as regrets. Don't look at them as like the ends of the road. They're really just moral lessons for you to take from, and they're actually leading you to where you're supposed to. And sometimes the path you think you need to take will lead you to a path that you just realize isn't for you. And that's okay, because sometimes you need to get out of your own way and realize that you need to course correct. That's cool. Not wrong with that. It's never too late to change direction. It's never too late to analyze yourself. You're not setting yourself back at zero. You're still in your forward momentum.
That's so true. I love that. So how do you maintain your confidence and resilience? Like artistry in general, any sort of art can be very sensitive, right? Very sensitive work when you're putting things out. So you've done the time, and you now are confident as F from an external point of view. So we don't actually know what's going on the inside, but it just seems like, you've really managed to get that resilience about you. So what do you think it is that bolsters that consistently?
For me, it was after being, what's it called again when people try to make you think you're crazy, but you're not crazy. What's that word again?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighted.
Yeah.
After being gaslit so much, at some point, when you start to see what's really happening, you start to learn that all that extra bullshit that people throw on you has nothing to do with you, and has everything to do with them. And unfortunately, we're in an industry that can be so political and so just full of bullshit people that often get in your way and tell you like, oh, that wasn't good enough. It's not because it wasn't good enough. It's because they're not happy that you're achieving something, and they don't want you to get to that next level because they couldn't. And I've just seen it happen so often that I recognize that, and I'm just like, listen, I know my stuff is good. Like, I've paid my time, and that's what it is. It's like, just keep moving, because you start to learn about yourself, and the more you learn about yourself, the more you develop a sense of confidence because you learned about yourself. And I think it's super important for all people, not just artists, to like therapize in some way, shape, or form, whatever that means to you. Take the time to look into the mirror and ask yourself, who am I really? What do I really want? Because once you answer those questions, and they're lifelong questions that keep changing as time goes on, but like as you answer those questions, the more you start to discover your confidence. So yeah, that's it. It's just a matter of, I think it boils down to resilience. It just boils down to resilience, because eventually you start to see the nonsense and see yourself through all of it, and just know like, listen, I got this.
It's so, so true. And the confidence piece, you so like hit the nail on the head for me there. It's repetition, right? It's literally, you get confident because you have done this thing that many times that you could do it backwards in your sleep and you would still nail it. And that's like when people say something. Bob Proctor, who's a teacher that I absolutely love, he's passed away now, but he was Canadian. And he always taught about manifestation and the law of attraction and all of these things. And he would sort of give people a hard time when they'd say, I'm not confident. And he'd be like, you're not confident. Stop saying that. You're confident at driving, confident at tying your shoes up. You're confident at cooking food. Like, you know what I mean? You're confident at the things that you know how to do. So it's a lack of confidence is a lack of repetition, a lack of practice in a certain thing. So really just tapping into that. And also, like you said, when you finally get to that point where you can identify that people are just projecting their own shit on you, and you actually, I don't know about you, but I've started, like, I used to be so sensitive. And I remember one time this is so sad. One time someone on my birthday who I hadn't seen, like I went to high school with this guy and he was always a bit rough and I wasn't close friends with him or anything. I think I was probably 27. So I was old enough where I should have maybe known better. But anyway, and basically he just wrote on my Facebook wall, fuck your birthday. It was my birthday. And you would not believe how much I crumbled from that. I had like my friends coming in to defend me. I was like, can you defend me? Like I was so like emotionally just weak at that stage. It was incredible. When I look back now, I'm like, oh my gosh. And now when I see people like that, I literally see like the child in them who's desperate to have their dreams come true and to be following what they want to do, but they haven't given themselves that permission. So they're looking at you going, stop reminding me that I'm not doing it. Like, how dare you? And I'm just
how dare you?
Yeah. And I just want to give them so much love. I'm like, I love you. Like, you can do it too. Come on. Come on. Come on, it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
It's
like,
okay.
yeah,
You got this.
100%, 100%. Like, so it's like I say it all the time. Like sometimes I just want to tell them, like, I hope you find the peace and love in yourself to find whatever it is that you're blocking yourself from.
Exactly, because that's all it is. We all
Yeah,
just want the same things. We literally, all we want is to feel good, right? That's
that's it.
literally all we want. And so
That's
we're
it.
trying to find these different things to make us feel good. But when you
Yep.
think you're going to find it in material things and then you realize, well, that's not it. And, artists in particular are so like gifted, obviously, in the talent way, but also like just they have the gift that they're giving
Yeah.
to themselves constantly of creation and they're
Yeah.
allowing themselves to do that. And it's just so funny, fickle, funny, the way the world works is that the artistic industry is usually the one that has the least money because
Yeah.
of whatever reasons. That's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just at least they're gifting themselves every day with just free flow of expression because that's all we're
Yeah.
here to do. Just express
That's it.
ourselves and feel good. Like
That's it.
if you
That's
can do
it.
that, you're sorted. And I truly believe the money, all of the other things, they flow in when you are just being your true authentic self. And so
Yep.
artists like yourself who are really just being genuine, like I'm so excited to continue to watch your career. You're already slaying it, so I can't even imagine. But oh man. Alrighty, so I've got the final 3 questions for you. I ask these
That's it.
3
Oh no, I
to
want
everyone.
more.
I know,
No.
right? We could go for hours. I got to get you on again, though. I got to get you on again. Honestly, there's so many things I want to ask you about. We could go even deeper next time. We can get real. There's lots of things about this industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, by then I'll actually be making more music, so I'll have more questions for you. Going, hey, how do you do
Well, by then
this?
we'll have collabed again with a new
Yes,
producer. Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm
You
gonna
heard
say it
it
right
here
now.
first.
You're gonna say it right now because like I'm gonna be releasing my next album in June. But I like the idea of always releasing an extended version of the album towards the end of the year. You're gonna be on the extended version of the album. That's it. It's said. I don't know what the song's gonna be, but it's gonna happen.
I am so down. I'm so down. And I'm so grateful we have that recorded here first.
That's
And
right.
you can't
That's
get out of
right.
it now, motherfucker.
No.
You're stuck with me.
I was like, wait a second.
Wait, I've changed my mind. I've heard what she does now.
Impossible.
We shall see. No, so final 3 questions. So this is one, I love this question. This is probably my favorite. We often take the time to sort of look at people that we admire. In your case, it might be Eminem and MJ. And we look at the qualities that we really love about those people and we sort of idolize those sorts of things. I want to know what are 3 qualities that you really like about you.
Oh.
And take your time because we don't take this time to appreciate ourselves, right? Like you have lived a big full life. You've done so many things and there are so many amazing qualities about you. And it's great when other people know them. Great, whatever. But
Yeah.
when you really take the time to go, hey, buddy,
Yeah. Yeah.
look at you.
Well,
You got
I
these
know.
things down.
I have 3 qualities about myself that are not the best, right?
No, that are the best.
Oh, okay.
That
Well,
are
I
like
was gonna.
solid. No.
Oh, I was
You
gonna
lined
like,
them up. All right.
Here
Well.
we go. Let me tell you something about me.
We'll do that on the next interview, all right? We'll
Next
go to
one.
the dark side.
Next one.
No, what do you love? Like,
Well, one, I really love my creative brain. I really do. Like, I love the facts, and it's not trying to sound arrogant or whatever
No,
to
it's
call
not.
it, but like,
It's not.
it's not. It's just, I love the fact that I am a fan of myself. Like, I
Yes.
like my music, and when I hear it, I'm just like, man, yes, like, and I think it's because I always see myself as the kid that was wanting to get into this, and whenever I listen to what I'm doing, or like my music gets an award or gets recognition, it's the kid in me that's just like, like, you did
I
it,
love
you
that.
did it,
I
you
love
did it,
that.
man, you did it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I love the fact that like I create and I'm able to do what the child in me set out to do. So that's
Beautiful.
that's one. And I know I talked about my OCD like a bad thing, but I do also, and it's a double-edged sword, but I do like my OCD brain because if it wasn't for it, I wouldn't be as meticulous I am with some certain details. Like I will listen to the same take a million times and redo it just so it sounds like exactly what's in my brain. And or like a sound that is just clashing with another sound that no one's gonna care about. But I'm just gonna be like, but that frequency, like. But I like the fact that I do that because I get to really just hone into what I'm trying to do, and reach a level. I don't think we can ever reach a level of perfection, but just reach to a point where I'm very proud of what I did. Listen, I'm lucky that I've gotten to meet such wonderful people in my life due to the trajectory I've taken, meeting people like you. Like, I have forged such powerful bonds that I know are gonna last a lifetime. Like, even if we went like another 10 years and didn't speak to each other, I know that when we spoke again, it's gonna feel like a homecoming all over again. So I'm just grateful to that I set myself on a journey that allowed me to experience so many wonderful people in my life. Those are the three things.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. It's so my favorite question. It's beautiful. And honestly, that's like a superpower, again, that you can be that perfectionistic and still release as much as you do. Because usually that's the problem for people, right? That's the issue. They're going, well, I can't do this thing because it's not perfect and I'm going to spend 10,000 hours doing this thing. You do both. You spend the 10,000 hours and you still release it. Like, that's freaking amazing.
Because I get to a point where I'm just like, listen, Steve, listen, you're going to make another 30 more songs by the time the year is over. Let this one go. Yeah. Move on. So, like, yeah, sometimes go like, just like, gotta go.
That's fair. Well, it all sounds amazing. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it because it's freaking amazing. So the second question is, what is your definition of living in your purpose?
Oh man, I think your purpose is it's akin to breathing, and someone once actually said that to me. And when I was going through I was actually in like 2018 or so, I was going through a record label potential like deal, and the person that was actually on the other side trying to seal the deal with me was going like, even if this doesn't work out, like, you're one of those people that's going to keep doing this thing no matter what. Even if it made you no money, you would do it because it's as intrinsic to breathing to you. And I was like, that's what it is. Your purpose is that thing that if you're not doing, you're not breathing. Like, that thing that if you're not doing, you feel like something's missing. You're like, that's what it is. And because as artists, man, like, my God, the amount of money we spend on equipment and this and that, it's insane. It's insane. And sometimes all of that doesn't necessarily equate to like increase in revenue right away. No. But like, we do it because it's what we love. So it's not about feeding something to make blah, blah, blah money. It's about doing something so that you can keep doing that thing that it makes you feel alive, even if the only person that heard any of the stuff you've done is yourself.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, yes. As intrinsic as breathing. Like, I feel you there. It's so
put on a t-shirt.
Yes, really. We got some merch ideas. Yes, I like that. Money. Okay, last one. So obviously there are probably 50,000 things you could give as advice, but let's try and wrap it up into one main thing. For people, imagine those who are sitting in their 9-to-5s, who maybe have a really creative soul, who have always sort of just done the safe thing, and they're now starting to go, no, I don't want to do the safe thing anymore. I want to follow my dreams, my goals. I want to step into my purpose, but I just don't I don't have the confidence. I don't know where to start. I don't know, like, hands in the air, help me sort of thing. What would you say to those people?
I would say to remember that not everyone's feet fit into the same shoes. And I say that because I think a lot of people that have a 9-to-5 that have dreams and aspirations, they think like, oh, well, the only way for me to make this happen is if I quit this job. But if I quit this job, how am I going to blah, blah, blah? I'm like, who says you have to quit the job? Like, and I think that's because that's a fault. That's an advice a lot of people give. It's just like, you need to just like jump straight in and then just like never look back. No, that's the quickest way, I feel. It works for some people. Here's the thing. It works for some people. It doesn't necessarily work for everyone. You have to do what feels confident. If it means like, okay, well, I'm doing my 9-to-5, but I'm going to slowly start working on this, if it's like during the weekends or whatever, just as long as you start doing something over time, everything you do in life is like, it's like throwing a snowball down a mountain. Eventually it gets bigger and bigger, and the more momentum it picks up, the faster it gets. It's the same thing. So if you just kind of start somewhere, even if it's like 20 minutes a day or whatever the thing is, you're slowly going to get yourself to a position where you're going to build momentum, and then you're going to start to reveal your own answers. So I think never look to anyone to give you solid advice about anything. Really, just at the end of the day, look into yourself and ask yourself, what can I do for myself so that I can feel comfortable moving in that direction? Don't do anything rash. Do whatever feels comfortable. That's just my advice. Because listen, I still work in software. I still do both. And for me, that's what makes sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to let one go and not do the other thing, because my spending habits on equipment is expensive.
I've become accustomed to a certain way of living.
I've become accustomed to my multicolored lights in the studio.
Yes, exactly.
So do what feels comfortable, and don't let anyone ever tell you that like you're not doing it the right way, because the right way is only right for you and no one else.
Yes, amazing advice. Losing my voice. It's so spot on. Because I mean, jumping straight out of your job is the quickest way to just be living in fear, and then trying to do things. You probably make some bad decisions because you got no money, and you're like trying to do everything for money rather than the passion. So
yeah.
Excuse me. Wow. Well, holy shit. This has been awesome. It's been so good to see you. Don't jump off. I'm about to say goodbye, but I'm still going to talk to you after the recording.
I know. I'm just so sad it's over. I should have slowed down my answer. I should be like, my advice to people.
No, this is awesome. I've now got a goal. I am going to do a collab this year with Stephen Voyce, and so that means I got to get my shit together. Basically, I got to actually learn to sing again. Like, I've lost my higher register. It's incredible. I didn't think you could actually do that. So I've got to practice and practice.
Everything, it's a muscle at the end of the day. Like, you just do it a few more times, and you're going to be like, before you like stuff like you good.
That is the plan. I'll hold you to that. I'll go, Stephen, why isn't it happening yet? No, definitely. But thank you so much for your time and for all of your wisdom. I have gained a lot from this myself, selfishly, personally, love it. And I'm sure that anyone listening has gained a lot. So thank you. And thank you for just being the lighthouse that you are, and for just following your passion, your purpose, being exactly who the fuck you are at all times. That is incredible. So much love for you, man.
You make me feel emotional. Listen, I was saying, I said this offline before, but I'm gonna say it here. In 20, I'm gonna say it was back in, I'm gonna say 20, even 2014 maybe. Like when I would really start trying to really pursue this, I remember like I would sit down late at night creating, trying to come up with ideas. And I remember I came across Sarah's profile on Instagram, and she was singing and rapping, and I was just like, what is this massive talent? And I remember just going like, I'm so blown away at what she does. And I reached out to her going like, hey, would you like to collaborate on a song? And she said yes. And that moment was the moment that really just changed a lot in my mind as to like me believing in myself. Because for me, someone of her caliber going, yes, I want to work with you, made such a difference. So you're talking a lot about all the things that I've done and where I'm at in my career, but like I don't think I would be where I'm at had I not met people like you that reminded me or gave me the confidence that at the time I didn't have. At the time that I may have been like playing confidence, that you actually put that confidence where it was. And so I just want to say thank you.
You just wanted to make me cry again, didn't you?
I did. But I'm also, well, the way that sounded was like horrible. I wanted to make her cry. No, I didn't want to make her cry. But like, no, it's just, I just wanted to say it because we said it offline, and it's just the truth, and the world needs to know. So like, if ever you, because I know that you want to get back into the music creativity, and if ever you feel like, oh, I don't know if I have the confidence, just remember that like the confidence that I have stemmed from you. So if that's possible, that confidence is already in you.
Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. And yeah, we're gonna have another chat in a few years when we've done a lot of work together, and we're gonna this snippet, we're gonna pull it in, and then I can see it's in the future already. Thank you so, so much. I have so much love for you, and I will talk to you soon, all right?
Yes, please.
Bye.